Hello and welcome to Glitch Cube. We're a gaming podcast, and each week we take a deeper look into the art of video games. As always, I'm Christian.
I'm Chris.
And welcome back, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us once again as we dive further into the world of games. And this week we are going to be going over our honorable mentions for Game of the Year. It is that time. We have hit that point once again. We're at the end of the year, and oh boy, where there's so many titles. I'm sure you guys are really tired of hearing us say that this year is stacked. And, you know, everyone that is in the video game industry, every video game podcast out there is bringing this up, that 2023 has been a massive, massive year for games. And some people are even saying that 2023 might be the new best year of games. From some other people might say, you know, like 2007, that kind of era, 1998 as well, because those were years in which major franchises have became well established, and those were the previous times. But this year is going to be one that is remembered for quite a while because of just how many amazing giant titles came out. But then when you look at it too, there's a lot of amazing indie smaller titles that came out too during 2023. So it has definitely been very difficult to keep up. And what I find like the most amazing is that we're still finding games that came out this year, right? Like I just found one yesterday and I was like, oh crap. And I know that if I play through it, it's going to be really great and I'm going to love it. And it's going to be one of my top games, but it's, you know, it's so late in the season and we have to go off of what we've already played now, but it will be an honorable mention for me today. Might not be, and I don't know if it's full like Game of the Year contention material, so we'll see. But we've kind of cherry picked through our list here. I know, Chris, you have a giant list. You've played through so many damn games, it's insane. I mean, kudos and hats off to you because you have definitely kept up with a lot of titles out there, a lot of new ones and everything like that.
It's impossible.
That's insane to me. And I'm very happy that I was able to get through some really long games. Like the fact that I was able to beat Baldur's Gate's great, you know, but we're not going to dive into that one just yet. We're going to be talking about our full major picks for Game of the Year next week. So this week we wanted to celebrate some of the games that we felt that need to be talked about. These are honorable mentions, and there's some really great titles here. And trying to figure out like exactly, you know, is this an honorable mention? Is this my Game of the Year? Like, is it in contention? Like, should this be top 10, top 5, right? Like that, it's been like the fact that we have to have that kind of conversation is kind of insane. Because I know in last year, we had a handful, right? But we had mainly the same ones. This year, I feel like we have variety, which is really great. And every single platform was firing off at like all cylinders. We have amazing mobile games. We have amazing AAA titles. We have amazing indie titles. Like everywhere that you can get a game, you got something amazing out of it and a really memorable experience. So yeah. Anyway, we're going to dive into this one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to talk about these titles because there's just a lot of really, really just like simple, fun games in here. And you might be surprised about which ones we might end up putting in honorable mentions, but it just kind of shows how stacked this season actually was, or year, rather. But do you want to start us off with one?
Yeah. I dare. Maybe I should make this the first one.
Oh, are you going
Screw
big?
It.
Are you going big?
Go big. Yeah.
Are you going to piss off everybody right now instantly?
Let's make everyone mad.
Oh,
or should we
boy.
wait for the second one so people are tempted to hear it?
You know what? Let's feed into it a little bit. Let's give them a little light one, but here's their teaser that y'all are probably going to get pissed at us.
There's no Nintendo titles in my top this year.
Ooh.
Boom.
Ooh.
There's some good honorable mentions, though.
Yeah, there are.
Put it that way. You know what's a really good honorable mention?
What's that?
That you reminded me of before this episode started? Metroid Prime Remastered.
Beautiful game. Amazing.
Fantastic. I never played it before, so I was really I really enjoyed it.
Honestly, for anyone that hasn't played this game, this is a perfect way of being introduced to the Metro Prime games. And like we mentioned in the episode that we brought it up, like 'cause it's it's exactly how I remembered it, which is ridiculous because I don't know how that's possible. And apparently, this has happened to a lot of people where it plays and looks how we remember the game playing and looking. But when you look back at what it actually looked like, it looked like shit. So it's kind of a trip. I don't know how that's possible because there's no other remaster game that I feel like I've played that has that effect, right? Like it's usually
Because
just like a
when I
complete
was
revamp.
looking into the changes, the biggest thing that changes was just the targeting system from what I was reading, and like upscaled the
Mhm.
graphics a bit. And other than that, it's like it doesn't really seem like they did a whole lot. But as someone who, you know what, I did rent it back in the day,
Mm.
um, but I didn't really play. I didn't get far. Weirdly enough, I think I fell off of it actually because the targeting aiming in the original just kind of bothered me. Um,
Mm. It was tough. It was a little rough to get through.
but in this, I was like, dude, now I see why people love the Prime games. Like, if they're all like this, I want to play all of them. I've been meaning
Mhm.
to pick up and play the other ones, but from this alone, I was like, damn, like I didn't think I was going to play it, but I'm glad I did. After how you hyped it up when you played it, I was like, I need to try it, and I'm glad I beat it. It's
Yeah.
honestly pretty damn cool.
Yeah. It's definitely a great one. And this year has been amazing for remasters
Hmm.
as a whole. And if you guys want to know like exactly what I feel about it, we did a whole episode on that remastered game, and I talked for a very long time about Metroid Prime. So I'm gonna save you guys that. But just know I enjoyed that game a lot. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. But speaking of other remasters, I mean, the Resident Evil 4 remaster. I think is just phenomenal. The amount of stuff that they put into this title and what they've done with a lot of these remakes and remasters this year has been just insane, right? Like they completely revamped Resident Evil 4, but it still kept
Hmm.
the core of it. They kept the vibe of 4 and just made it into something very special. And they like cleaned it up. They made the aiming so much better. Thank God, like, they did because the controls are rough in old Resident Evil games, but it just looks great. Like it looks very modern. They really definitely brought it into the modern world, even though 4 was still very popular and selling very well especially when it went to the Switch and everything. Like it still has a lot of popularity behind it. But now that we have the ability to play this new modern version of it with some, quality of life stuff added in, it's been a really great experience playing through this one. And it's wonderful. It's definitely a great title for sure.
Yeah, I really want to play it. So this is the other big game that I had played a little bit of when I was younger. I had thought I played a lot of it looking back, but when I talked to a few friends about it, I realized I really didn't get that far because I made it to like the lake
Yeah.
and fought that boss, and they're like, "Oh, you barely are. You're maybe like 15% in the game," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, damn it." Um,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed it. I think back then, like I forgot what I was doing. I think I was getting into like other games on the GameCube. Like I think I was getting into like not Animal Crossing, but something else. So it just kind of like I lost interest in it for some weird reason.
Mm.
Like I before that, the only Resident Evil I played was 2, and I had liked it, but it was also just kind of like the controls pissed me off.
Mhm.
And but seeing this remake, I really want to play it. And the thing is too is I'm like, oh, I kind of want to play the original just because the whole charm and the inspiration of what it did to the industry as a whole. But at the same time, I'm like, I really do want the quality of life of the remake and all this added content to it, which, to me, it's like, as someone who was around for when 4 came out originally, I was able to experience the hype of it back then. And I'm like, I feel like I can just play the remake and be happy, because I
Right.
don't know, their remakes have always been really good. I mean, 3, the little bit I played was kind of but I played the demo of the 4 remake, and I was like, this feels great. Like,
Hmm.
I definitely want to play more. And it's interesting how a lot of horror got remade this year. Uh, kind of,
Yeah.
when you were bringing up all the remakes and stuff, I'm like, I feel like this was the year for like horror remakes in a lot of ways, because like, um, Dead Space remake is
Yeah.
actually really good. I just
It's
started
funny
playing
because
it
that's not that
recently.
old of a game, but they were able like it now feels like a brand new game again.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, like, to me, as someone who didn't beat it, I know, to me, a lot of these big games I surprisingly didn't beat or didn't really play too much of. So it's actually been really fun playing a lot of these big titles. And
Hmm.
with Dead Space, it's one I've always wanted to play. I wasn't scared of it. It was more so just like, I didn't know if I would like the whole aiming, with the limbs and stuff. But
Right.
this remake, it makes it so easy and nice. And the way the lights all like black out randomly when you're walking down the hallways and stuff,
Hmm. They
terrifying.
they did a really great job, and they they actually brought in um, movie directors to figure out exactly how to put in proper sound cues and lighting and things like that when they originally made Dead Space. So
Hmm.
they got a lot of feedback that way, which is really really smart to make such an atmospheric game. And then now for this remake, they actually brought in some like amazing people from the community, like the gaming community of just streamers and stuff like that, as and let them play early. And actually, they got to put in their 2 cents and like recommend certain things here and there, which I think is fascinating. So, like the I feel like the reason why Dead Space is so good is because they've from day one they have listened to like experts or they've listened to the community to hear exactly what they need to be putting into this game, whether it was the directors in the early end or the people who've been playing it and love it, and since day one. And like of course they would play the hell of a remaster, right? Like, so I think it's really cool that they created a community board of that and like invited them to the studio to see early concept art and actually like the changes and suggestions that they made. These people have said in interviews that like they see their stuff, like they see what they talked about, so they were actually listening. Like I think that's really fascinating to do. So it shows, and it's just a classic game. Like Dead Space is amazing. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Alien franchise, so like this just screams Alien, the video game. I mean, of course there are Alien games out there like Isolation, which is great, but like this is a really amazing like homage to that style.
Yeah,
And
like
like,
the audio work, like you said, like
mhm.
you feel the difference between that and other horror games in general. It's like you can tell, like, especially with headphones, it's like almost scary how well done it is.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
and
it's great.
I'm digging it. But one remake that I feel like kind of came out but didn't really blow up, which is understandable because I think it only ended up coming out on PC. But the System Shock remake I thought was really
Yeah.
good. I got about 3 hours into it, and I want to play more of it, but I kind of got obviously distracted with everything. But as someone who tried to go back and play the original because, everyone says, oh, this is one of the best immersive sims you can play. It's one of the originals. And
Hmm.
everyone always would recommend it. And I mean, most people say just play the sequel because it's a lot of improvements, but I wanted to see, the original. And it was always, I hate to say it, but it just felt too dated for me. I feel like
Mm.
I can play like PlayStation 1 games, N64 games, like even older than that and be fine. But when it comes to old PC games, sometimes it's not clunky. It's just I feel like there's too much on the screen and it kind of like overwhelms me sometimes. And I feel like that
Yeah.
was a game that kind of did that for me. But looking back at everything in that game, it's kind of almost revolutionary what they did back then. But with this remake, it's insane. Like, the graphics are gorgeous. And in a lot of ways, it's, one for one. And I really like it. It's hard, it's definitely a more difficult game, but the amount of love that went into it, you can just feel it. I mean, they were working on it for years, but it's a shame that it kind of just, got not swept under the rug, but you just don't see it really on anyone's like list for like anything,
Mm-hmm.
because like it's good, for a remake. It's like, I would say the amount of work and detail into it, it's like just as good as, Dead Space or Resident Evil 4 with how well they remade it. But yeah, I like what I played so far. But it's been a great year for remakes.
Yeah. System Shock looks like an amazing title. I haven't played it, but I'm wondering if it's falling into that unfortunate like pitfall of early PC games. They've become more like cult classic-y kind of games, right? Like
Mhm.
it's hard to get a new audience for something like this. Whenever the barrier for entry back in the day was pretty difficult, and like you said, a lot of older PC games, they had a lot going on them, right? Because when you look like a console game, there's less buttons to press, so the UI is a little bit simpler. With
Mhm.
PC, like I can have, every single key do something completely different, and that could be something on the screen that is a shortcut, right? Like there's a lot more that you can do, and a lot of times people don't know how to edit their UIs, and they kind of cloud and muddy them up. And I feel like that happens a lot in older PC games, like a lot, a lot. And where you don't see that at console games because that's just not something that was there, right? Like, can you imagine Mario with like a crazy UI? Like that would never get played. Like it wouldn't be as popular as it is. So it is
Mario
unfortunate.
typing.
That's true. That was an amazing game. I need to bring that back so I can actually like
Mario's missing.
teach the kids how to like type. Like I keep joking about that, but I'm gonna try and find it and do it. So because a lot of these kids have such a hard time typing, and I remember learning how to type with that, man, and it was great, and it made me want to like actually type faster. So I think that would be a lot of fun, actually. That would be great. But no, yeah, I agree 100%. Like these remakes and remasters this year have just been phenomenal, and there's so many out there that just they crushed it, and they're able to keep that same vibe and just keep the spirit of the original game alive, and not lose sight of that, right? Like in the past, we've seen a lot of remakes and remasters that kind of go too far, right? Where it's just a completely different game now, and it
Mhm.
just doesn't feel like that same one. But every single remake and remaster that's come out this year has been the game that we remember playing. It's just more modern now. It has a little bit more of those like quality of life things added in that just modernizes it. But it still has it still feels like you're playing that old game again, which is just amazing and phenomenal. But so a different game that I want to bring up is one that kind of reminds me of Resident Evil 4, right? And the reason why I'm saying this is because for a lot of people who played Resident Evil 4, you can almost argue that there's two games going on at the same time. You have the main game itself, which is an action style game, right? Like it's that you're fighting zombies and going through all this stuff, solving puzzles, right? But then when you go into your menu, there's a lot of organization and being able to spin things around and trying to maximize the amount of space that you actually have in your inventory and carry as much things to help you survive as you possibly can. So, for some reason, that feels great. And a lot of people agree. Like, there's something about inventory management in that style, which is just really fun, right?
It's
Uh,
relaxing, yeah.
it is. So there's a game that came out and it's called Backpack Hero. And I really enjoy this one. I think it's really, really fun. It's like a little dungeon crawler, which actually has a little bit of like city building baked into it as well. in between the dungeons themselves. But in Backpack Hero, the main trope of it is inventory management. So it's basically inventory management, the game. You have a giant magical backpack, and as you level up your characters throughout the dungeon, you are able to then expand the amount of slots that your backpack has. And you can do it in really weird ways. There really is no right or wrong way as to how to organize your backpack. When you get the ability to unlock 4 new slots in it, they don't need to be in a row or a column. You can go kind of random with them. They just need to be touching a previous one, right? So you kind of connect it that way. But what makes this really interesting is that you can start chaining together little effects within your backpack. So, like, let's say you have a relic that gives an adjacent weapon +1 to attack. If you put that next to your sword in your backpack, then now your sword has +1. And you can start stacking those by putting more relics near it, but you have to be able to organize the new stuff coming in, right? And just kind of make it so that you can survive through the dungeon and sell your stuff and kind of help build up the city that is pretty much like run down. And that helps you like unlock new characters and new adventures in the dungeon and all that fun stuff. So this has been a lot of fun, just kind of diving into it and, organizing it and figuring out what things do what. And there's a lot of really cool like magic that's built into this. And the system actually gets very, very deep and involved. And it's just, I really enjoyed this one. It's just a great little like peaceful title. I can see you like loving this game and getting a little sucked into it, but it's a lot of fun. I definitely recommend this to anybody that kind of likes that organization in games. Or if you ever played Resident Evil 4 and you found like you picked up something and you found the right way to spin it to make it fit, and you're like, yeah, this is nice, right? Like, then I think you'd really appreciate Backpack Hero. But yeah, I really like this one.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for that kind of like inventory management stuff. And because you build your little village and stuff, right? In this game,
Yep.
if I remember
Yep.
right. Yeah,
Yes.
I've been kind of eyeing this because it's what I would two things I really enjoy. But I haven't had a chance to get to it, but it looks really cool.
Yeah, it's a city sim and inventory management. Like, I'm surprised you haven't played this one yet.
Yeah, I'm. It's not surprising that it's doing really well too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's simple graphics, simple everything, but the mechanics work. The mechanics are very, very well done. So I think that's what's really like crushing this game, making it a success. So, yeah.
I think I need to say it, but for the honorable mention, Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Is not on my top. And
mine either.
While I definitely, in a lot of ways, for the technical side of it, yes, it would be at the top of my list, just because it is insane how well it runs with everything going on. Because
on a Switch, that's crazy.
Jumping from a Skyland down into the depths seamlessly, it's insane. And the way the depths mimic, the overworld, it's like, like if you see like a statue in the depths, it's possibly sticking through in the overworld. And it's amazing the amount of detail that went into that game, even though in a lot of ways it definitely does feel like not that different from Breath of the Wild. But as someone who didn't like Breath of the Wild, I loved this game a lot more. I don't know why. I think because I liked the powers a lot more in this game, and the being able to create anything was really cool. And I think this was a step in the right direction in a lot of ways, but it also didn't really, the story and everything didn't blow me away. And I almost feel like with the way that Zelda has kind of gone with, Breath of the Wild and this is that they want to focus more on the world building rather than a story. And I mean, you could always say that the storyline in Zelda's were always pretty basic, compared to other games. But it just, with this one, there was a lot of cool things with it, but when you stack it up with a lot of other stuff I played this year, I'm like, it doesn't reach that level. And
there's
I mean,
been
I've
too many
sung,
titles that have like blown us away, and
yeah, like
this
to
was good,
me,
but yeah.
I think the most emotionally impactful thing it did for me was just like being on an island and watching the sunrise right over the mountain.
Hmm.
And I was like, wow, this is beautiful. Like it, watching the, like the weather change, watching the sunrise and sunset, and the way the lighting works with that, that blew me away. On top of everything else that's going on in that game at the same time, the environment I think was my favorite thing about that. And
Right.
where in Breath of the Wild, I didn't really want to explore too much away from the main story because, like I said, I didn't really enjoy it. This, I wanted to see everything. And because it was easier, because you can just fly everywhere, it made that simple. And there were so many times where I'm just like, I want to sit and enjoy this moment, right? Like the rain sounds beautiful. I loved going to, God, I can't think of the name right now, but it's a town with the lab.
Yeah.
And just being there when it rains,
Isn't it just like the lookout or something? I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, the lookout's there. I forget it's not the one with the K, it's something else. But, and then there's the whole pirate town side quest that was awesome. And there's so many things about this game that I really loved. But in a lot of ways, I'm just like, I'm glad I played it. I don't regret playing it at all. I just think that, like you said, there's been so many other experiences I've had this year that made me sit back and think about them a lot more.
Right. No, it was a really, really great game. It really was. But I'm almost tempted to say that maybe I wasn't the right target audience for this title. Because the building part of it, I actually could have done without. I don't really feel like, I mean, I only built when I had to, when it kind of forced me to. I never really went out there to like, I'm going to build a dragster to go across this land. I'm like, no, I just run it. I don't care. Right. Like, or I fast travel. Right. Like, I wasn't really trying to make all these crazy creations because I just never really felt like the need for it. I don't know. Like, that's just kind of how I played the game. And, it was a lot of fun, but I feel like it's starting to kind of lose itself a little bit with all these extra mechanics built in with like the making stuff and all that. Like it felt like I was playing a really great version of Scrap Mechanic, right? Like, because that's what I mean. Scrap Mechanic does exactly the same things, right? You can make all
like
this stuff and do all that.
bolts.
Yeah, like we've seen this mechanic before, and it does work really well. And it felt like it was almost like a tech demo for like a Zelda Maker game, right? Instead of a Mario Maker or something.
It was like Gary's mod, but Zelda, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
I don't know. It was good, but it just wasn't my favorite.
I feel like, especially during that first like 2 weeks where everyone on TikTok were building like giant like mechs and like all this kind of crazy stuff. Like, it's awesome. Like, it's basically one of those games that it's like, I'm going to sit and watch the crazy stuff people built that I'm never going to build. And that's kind of what it ended up being for me. And because basically once I created like the set little vehicles I liked, like once I built that little hover bike that everyone was posting about, that basically makes it very easy to get around anywhere, especially the depths, because you just throw a little light bulb on it.
Yeah, the like cheat and skip ahead bike. Yeah.
It was perfect, and it really did make exploring everything a lot of fun. But it also made me think like, oh, I don't really need to build anything else. Like I did try to build one of those robots, but by the time I did that, I was like, I just want to finish the game. And I mean, the the boss fights in the game are pretty damn cool, especially the final boss fight. I was like,
Hmm.
whoa, like this is definitely one of the better Zelda final boss fights in, I almost want to say maybe one of the best, now that I'm thinking about it, because it's like I think back to like Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time. It's like the nostalgia makes it seem really damn cool, but when you think about it, it's like not that crazy. And then same with
No.
like Wind Waker, it's like it's okay, but
I
I don't
have
know.
a
This one just felt
controversial
very.
point of view with that. The one of my favorite Zelda boss fights or like final fights was
Mm-hmm.
actually Skyward Sword.
See, I never finished Skyward Sword, so I'm not sure even how that goes.
It's like it's not a hard fight, but the setting itself is what really sells it. Like you're
Mm,
fighting in the sky, so everything it's almost like you're standing on like a mirrored water level, right? So the sky and
interesting.
the floor are mirroring one another, and you're fighting Ganon, who looks like just this giant behemoth of a man. Like it's a really really great fight, like as far as aesthetics go. So that
Hmm.
it's funny, like because the rest of the game is okay, but especially with the motion controls and everything. But the final fight in that one was really, really amazing. But no, I mean, Tears of the Kingdom had some great stuff like the Nazca lines. I really like the addition
Mm,
of that. The whole story and fighting with the dragons and all that. Like that was really really cool, and like the cutscenes were really well done. I like that it actually gave you a little bit of story, but I feel like the one thing it did is like by adding in this build whatever you want mechanic. I heard by so many people who were playing the game that they weren't even playing the game, right? Like they didn't care about the story. They weren't getting any of those like story beats or didn't care about the cutscenes. They only cared about just making something trippy or weird or cool, right?
mm-hmm.
Like so I feel like it really did take away from the actual game itself. And that's why I don't think it's as memorable of an experience because than some of the other games that came out this year, unfortunately, because it was really great. And I only focused on the story. So I had a really great time with it. I really did enjoy the story of it because I kept the pace up, right? But this game doesn't make you do that, right? So the pacing becomes really wonky really quickly for a lot of people who play this title. So, and it just kind of like takes away from the magic of what's actually going on. And you don't ever feel like the pressure of needing to go forward with anything, right? So it's yeah, I would say it's a great game, but definitely other ones really did hit a special place in our hearts. Like there's when stacked up with some of these other ones, it has to just be an honorable mention, unfortunately.
Yeah, like I was thinking back to in the summer, this game, Chaya, I think
Oh
that's how
yeah.
you pronounce it.
Hmm.
Um, Tale from New Caledonia is kind of what it's called. But to me, in a lot of ways, it had that same Breath of the Wild kind of feeling, right? It had that kind of surprisingly big open world. In a lot of ways, the combat, everything kind of felt the same. And to think a game surprisingly that big and well polished was made by like 12 people,
Yeah, that's crazy.
and the amount of work that went into it, like something I really loved about it was that they tried to show off their culture in any way they could, right? Like there's times where you're making meals, the traditional meals of New Caledonia, and it was
Mm.
so fascinating because it's like you don't really hear about that place ever,
Yeah.
right? Like
Right.
you, most people probably don't even know it exists, but it was so fascinating. And like the photo mode in that game is crazy. It's a real photo. Like, and you have to get it developed. You could mess it up if you don't develop it right. Like, it's really like,
that's cool.
There's a lot of things that were really cool about it. And I mean, in a lot of ways also, you can tell it was made by a small team because there were some kind of things where I was like, oh, this feels a little weird. But I loved in a lot of ways, it reminded me of the excitement I had exploring in Tears of the Kingdom. And the reason I say that was because the whole mechanic in the game is that you can possess things, animals primarily. And so imagine like you are a bird, or you see a bird, you're going to morph into that bird. And obviously you have like a stamina bar. So once it runs out, you turn back into, your character. But you're this bird, you see a fox on the ground, you instantly warp down to the fox. So now you're a fox. And, there was people that, launched a coconut in the air, right? You can morph into that coconut. And then while you're flying in the air, you see a bird, you morph into that, and you could fly all the way across the island just by like basically teleporting into these different birds in the sky and all this other kind of crazy stuff. And it surprised me because I didn't think I was going to enjoy it because, like I said, I don't really care for open world games like that. And the story, it was cute. There were definitely some surprisingly dark stuff in it, but it was enjoyable overall. And that's why I figured, it's a good mention, because I feel like I'm seeing more people actually bring that up in their lists, which is surprising because I feel like when it came out, no one was talking about it. But I love when games like focus on a culture that, doesn't get represented at all, really. And it was cool. I felt like I learned a lot from that. And I may have not thought the game was like 100% for me, but the amount of stuff I learned from it, it's memorable. And overall, I really liked it.
I think it's an amazing looking game. I love the mechanic behind it. It's pretty phenomenal to think that just a 12-person team did that. Because it is a very difficult mechanic to be. Like, they took the Mario Odyssey mechanic, like the throw your hat at something and become it, and like turned it up to 11. Because now you have the ability to just do it with almost everything that's there, and that's pretty phenomenal. And from what I've seen, it looks great in the process. So it's not like too jarring or anything like that. It just feels right, which is really cool. Like jumping from a bird to a fish to a fox to the right, like that's a really cool thing to add into a game. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna dive into some mobile games. I've been playing a lot of mobile games, and I'm surprised at what has actually been coming out lately. I got a couple on here, two big ones I would say that really caught my attention. One of them I'm just talk about briefly because there's not too much to talk about. But Monster Hunter Now is a phenomenal title. I mean, if you are familiar with Pokemon Go, it is that, but with the Monster Hunter universe. And
do you chase them?
So you can, as you walk around, the monsters show up in your area, and you tap them to hunt them, right? And you have 1 minute to hunt the monster. So basically, you're just fighting it one-on-one for 1 minute, and if you don't, then mission fails, right? You get kicked out of that, and you can go back in by like tapping the monster again. But it's been a really cool thing to play around with. They don't have like every single weapon in there, like they don't have like the insect glaive and things like that. But it's just because you're just doing a simple tapping thing, right? Like the glaive is a little bit more complex by adding in the 3 bugs and everything from world. There's a lot more to it. But it's really, really cool. Like, I like the mechanics that are there. It is a challenging game. You can actually dodge. Like, you have to learn how to dodge properly. And if you use the sword and shield, like, you have to learn how to shield properly. Like, some of the monsters can hit pretty dang hard, especially at the higher difficulty ratings, where, like, you really need to start paying attention to armor class and, like, what level you're at and things like that. So it's really, really cool. You can invite other hunters to hunt with you. I remember I was going through Balboa Park at one point, and I jumped in a hunt, and there were 3 of us going after an Anjanath, right? And that was really cool because you can see the other hunters like jumping around and swinging their giant swords or their hammer or whatever, right? Like it was a really cool little touch there. So I really enjoy the loop of this, and it's quick, which I think is nice. So with the like some of the monster fights, like especially if you start getting at a higher level and you're hunting something like a little lower level, like a 1 or 2 star, your hunt will be over in like 10 or 15 seconds, right? So you can just keep doing them really quickly, but it's just a nice little touch. So that one I've been really enjoying. And if you're a fan of the Monster Hunter universe, check it out. It's a really fun one. Graphics actually look great. It's made by Niantic. It's using the Pokemon Go engine completely. It's just reskinned with Monster Hunter, which is great. But yeah, and then another mobile game that I've been playing that I'm surprised that I got into. It's Kingdom 80s. So the Kingdom games, they've always kind of intrigued me, but I've never really gotten into them too much. I felt like they were a little bit boring in the past, right? Like it has the same loop over and over again. And for some reason, my mind just wasn't clicking with it. And when I saw Kingdom 80s, I was like, yeah, well, you know what? Let me give it a shot. And I didn't look into it at all. I was just like, you know what? I like the aesthetic. Let me try it out. So playing this game, and I realized like this is awesome. Like it's Kingdom. It has the same loop in it, but they put in some really interesting mechanics behind it. So Kingdom 80s is like typically you're set in like a fantasy world, right? Where you're just going on a forest you're on a horse. This one, you are a camp counselor, right, in the 80s, and you're riding around on your bicycle. And all the people that you recruit to your village are the kids. So they're like smaller than you, right? So it's kind of funny. So they're like the kids from the camp. And there's actual like real cutscenes in this one. And there's actually a storyline in chapters, and there's NPCs that you talk to and you befriend and things like that. And it makes it feel like a lot more where the loop feels more rewarding to get through the chapters and to accomplish these things here. Um, so that's been a lot of fun to play around in. And one really cool thing that they added as well is a siege mechanic. So at one point in each one of the levels, you can grab a dumpster, right? If you get the jock, he's able to push the dumpster, and he pushes it pretty slowly, but he follows it wherever you go. And if you're doing that, the dumpster acts as like a barricade wall, right? And all of your archers will now follow the barricade. So they're going behind them. Even if you go past the bounds of like your current village or your civilization, right? So there's walls that you create, and usually the archers kind of stay close to that wherever the furthest point is. They will follow it completely out, and they anytime you go up to like a portal where the greed is coming out, they actually will just fire off a bunch like an onslaught of arrows to take it out and destroy these portals. And that's how you actually move from chapter to chapter. So like you start in the camp, then you go to the high school, then you're going to the mall, or like there's different areas in which you're going to. So it's a little different than regular Kingdom, where you just kind of build your ship back up and you just go and explore different areas. This one feels like it's very like you want to continue progressing through. There's an actual storyline behind the Kingdom game, and I'm really, really enjoying this loop. It's very, very well done, and like the way that they've incorporated like different bikes. And actually, today I found a half pipe and I cleaned it up, and it turns out like I can switch my bike out for a skateboard. And every
Hmm.
bike or skateboard has a different movement mechanic behind it too, which I think is great. Like the first bike you get, you can pop a wheelie and it gives you a little speed boost. There's one bike where if you do a quick turnaround, you get a speed boost that way. Or the skateboard, you actually keep swiping as if you're kicking off with your foot, right? And like it's a really cool like those little things. They go a really long way with this title. So yeah, I'm surprised at how much I'm really enjoying the Kingdom games now. I guess I'm just at that mindset where it just feels good to play something like that, and the loop is actually starting to feel very rewarding from those titles. So yeah, I started playing Two Crowns again too because I wanted to. But yeah, no, Kingdom 80s is definitely a hit. I'm really enjoying it. It's perfect for the iPad or the phone. It's just a great little game.
I like the look of it. I've played one of the Kingdom games. I forgot which one I played. It might have been New Lands or something like that. It was one of the older ones,
Mhm.
and I liked it. I felt like I played a Flash game. Like, did it start originally as a Flash game?
I
I think it
believe
did.
so. Yeah.
Because that's how I remember playing it. And I liked it. I didn't like how you have to go all the way back on the screen to get back to your
Yeah.
village and stuff. But
The nice
it's a
thing about
cool
80s
idea.
is that the maps feel a little smaller. So you're
Okay.
not going like too far. Like it never feels like, oh, this is a drag. And I think one of the big things that was a drag in the other kingdoms is when your horse runs out of stamina, you get forced to stop for a while, right? While your stamina recharges. In
Hmm.
this one, it's great. Whenever your guy gets tired, he, pops a quick nollie, right? He hits the brakes really hard. He just takes out a bottle of like like lime Gatorade, basically, chugs it really quickly, and then 1 second later, you're ready to keep moving. So you don't have to like actually wait there for the horse's breaths to come back and slow down or let it eat. It's just a quick boop, take a drink, and then you're ready to go. So it doesn't feel like it slows you down at all, which is really nice. It's almost like it's not
Huh.
there. It's a good touch.
So for me, I'm gonna drop these all quick, like, because they all kind of have this vibe of basically taking an older style of game and doing a new twist on it.
Nice.
And I enjoyed all of these very much, but I think not enough to be, on my list. But the first one, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, I thought was surprisingly really, really good. I
It
love
looks
the Jet Set
awesome.
Radio games a lot,
Mhm.
and I thought this was really well done. The music is fantastic. Like, it literally feels like this is a new Jet Set in so many ways. It's weird how well it's made, and I know they just announced that there's going to be a new Jet Set during the Game Awards. They had a little quick snippet of a new one,
Nice.
and it's kind of a bummer that it's not fully cell shaded. But
Mm.
this game did do full cell shaded, and it is amazing. And I love that there's so many different tags you can throw up, and it was a really good time. I really liked it, and I feel like it's a good evolution to modern controls and modern just everything in it. Yeah, I mean, the old games didn't really age that bad either, but comparing to this, where it feels modern, it's really nice.
Yeah, it
Uh,
looks cool. And okay, real quick, yeah, they announced a new Jet Set Radio, but they announced a new Crazy Taxi
I know that's the one
and
I'm most hyped for.
and a new Golden Axe. Come on.
And yeah, and the Golden Axe is like 3D too. It's weird.
That's so cool. Like Golden Axe is such a nostalgia game for me. I'm so excited about that.
I see. For me, it's Crazy Taxi. When I saw that, I was like, the amount of
Yeah.
times I played Crazy Taxi 1 on the Dreamcast, oh man, I loved it so much.
This is gonna
So
be nuts. These are some
hearing
cool
the
games to bring
Offspring just
back.
play constantly, it was
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, Another one that I thought was really good and well done. Uh, it's I want more time with it, but the amount that I played, I really liked it. But Pizza Tower, I think,
Yeah.
you know, it really does capture that kind of Wario, Sonic speed mixed with like a Nintendo or not Nintendo, Nickelodeon style, like art style, and I really enjoy it. I know it's got kind of a interesting community, but um, yeah, that one's great. God, there's so many of these kind of games that have this old school kind of feel. But for me, the only really boomer shooter that stuck out was Slayer's X. I thought it was really good. That was a fun time. And there was one other. Oh, so this one, it's not so much that it's copied something from the past, but it invoked feelings of growing up with old puzzles and odd, weird games on the old PlayStation consoles, right?
Hmm.
Because there was tons of them. But Humanity was
Oh yeah.
a game that really stood out to me because it captured that weird PlayStation 2 feeling where it it's a simple game in a lot of it's simple on paper, right? You hear about it, you're like, oh, this sounds easy. You guide these, basically lemmings to from one side to the next. Oh, make them jump over a gap, easy. Well, once you realize like, oh, you need to like make them turn this way, make them do this, it gets challenging, especially if you want to get like the little like collectibles. It gets
Hmm.
really hard. And I was oddly very hyped for it when I first saw a trailer, and it came out, and I was like, "Dude, this is good." I think I'm pretty close to finishing it, but it's surprisingly really well done, and I'm kind of surprised it didn't get mentioned more than it did. But it's definitely like for people that want like puzzle stuff, it's fantastic.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't checked that one out. I'm not sure about that one.
It's not for everybody. To me, it's like one of those like, oh, I don't know what I want to play. Oh, I guess I can boot this up and kind of, you know, take it easy.
Mm.
Um,
Actually,
but
my last one is that perfect game right there. The game that you don't
ooh,
know what to play, you boot it up real quick, and you just kind of enjoy exactly what it is. And it is a very simple experience, but this game has gotten so much attention lately that it's kind of insane.
oh
And that
no,
is a Suika game. Yeah. Yeah, this game is so addicting. I'm so surprised that it's not on the phone. The fact that this is like a Switch exclusive is kind of insane to me. But it is such a fun game that is equally frustrating and peaceful at the same exact time. And it's one of those that I think is great because like my partner really enjoys playing this game as well. She's not a gamer at all, but this has really like caught her attention. The cute graphics and the music is just really peaceful, but at the same time, when you get that like match and all of a sudden everything pops and it pops out of the box and it is so frustrating. But you just want to keep playing because it's so cute and everything as well. So I really have been enjoying Suika game. And for those of you who don't know exactly what this is, it's basically it's watermelon game. That's what it translates to. And it's a match game where you're just dropping fruit from an adorable cloud. All the fruit has or faces on it, and if you match two fruit, then it evolves into the next stage, which is a bigger fruit, right? So two cherries becomes a strawberry, two strawberries becomes a bunch of grapes, and so on and so forth, right? And you just go until you lose to try and get a better high score. Like that's really it. There is no end game. It's just you keep playing until you beat your high score. And there's just something really nice and rewarding about that, where it's just a good turn your brain off kind of game. And it's just been a lot of fun to play it. I'm weirdly hooked, but it's definitely one of those where in between some of these bigger titles that I've been playing, you sit there and it's like, what do I feel like playing? And you just kind of turn that on real quick for a little bit, and it's nice and it's cheap. It's like $2 on the Switch. You can't really beat that. And it's amazing how popular this title became. Like it is massive now, and so many streamers are playing it. But I get the hype, and it's one of those games that is a streamer game that actually is fun to play, which I feel like that's kind of rare, right? Like there's a lot of games out there that are really fun to watch, and you can tell they were made with streamers in mind. But this one is just a fun experience, even if you're watching it or just playing it. Where I heard they even had it like live streamed at bars as just like background noise, and I think that's hilarious. It's that kind of a game, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Definitely recommend.
it's weird how that blew up. I don't understand how. I remember like seeing one person stream it, and then like a day or two later, it's like a bunch more, and I'm like, what is this? And like, there's clones, on Steam and everywhere else, but nothing is like the original. But
Hmm.
it it's interesting. I like it. I'm just like, I don't get why it's so big. Like I guess because it's cute and it's different. But
Well,
I'm
it's
just
it's
like,
almost like a new version of solitaire, right? Like I used to just play solitaire when I was bored,
true.
right? Because it's simple, like get the mechanics. It's easy to set up. It's easy to play, right? Like, and that's exactly what this game is. It's not one of those that you're playing like to aggressively get a high score. No, this is one of those that is just a very casual playthrough. So yeah, Suika game, the new solitaire.
Mm. Um. So for me, I feel like these two, I kind of will throw together because it's a genre that I normally don't really have much like care for. But
Mhm.
so I brought up the name in an episode before, but didn't really talk about it. But Videoverse, I
Yeah.
I was contemplating in putting this in my top, mostly
Mm,
because of the way it made me feel. And it it's not like it's a mind-blowing experience, but for me who spent, the early 2000s on message boards all the time, instead of going out playing with friends, I had friends on message boards, right? Like I
mhm,
had like an early internet social life than a lot of other people my age at the time. And in this game, you're basically, you're joining this message board for this game called Feudal Fantasy. And it's your typical message boards back in the day, like people, giving hints on how to beat a boss or fan art or, trolling, stuff like that. And you're on this little computer called the Shark. And, it's, technology, it gets out of date and there's a new thing coming out. So it's like, everyone's kind of dealing like, oh no, how are we going to talk with each other? Like, once this new thing comes out, like we won't be able to hang out anymore, kind of thing. So there's a lot of little systems going on, and it's kind of cool because in some ways it reminds me of like what Hypnospace Outlaw was,
mm,
in that where that game had exploration of early internet, right? Like you had your funny, crazy websites, you had your funny dancing baby kind of gifts, you had all that kind of stuff. But this game does that, but for the message board experience. And it's funny because I'm thinking about that time that it came out, and I'm like, the main character kind of, he's not cringy, but it, they captured the way I felt people talked perfectly back then. Because I'm like, damn it, I can see myself a lot in this character.
right.
And in a lot of weird ways, I'm like, this is kind of scary. And it was cool because it's like, there's obviously different paths that can kind of happen in this game. And, you can report people who are harassing other users. You can, or you can avoid it, and there's some minor changes. It's not really going to change the ending too much, but stuff leading up to it will do some different kind of outcomes, which I thought was, kind of cool. But this game meant a lot to me that I didn't think it would, but it was cool. It made me like think about my past and how I did, you know, that's all I did back in the day. And it's funny because I feel like nowadays I'm like, even though I'm on the internet a lot, I feel like I don't converse that much with people as much as I used to. And I'm like, I should change that. I should go
Mm,
back to how I used to just, talk to people all the time. And, I still have friends from those old days on the message boards, like going on 20 years, that I
that's
still talk
crazy.
to every once in a while. And it's cool. I'm like, damn, like to think like they knew me when I was like 13. or
That's
even
crazy.
younger.
Yeah.
And it's wild, but I feel like this game really captured that perfectly well. And it was cool. I feel like the last couple visual novels I played have all been really positive experiences for me. Like I played Doki Doki at the beginning of the year, which, I mean, for anyone that's played it, yeah, I can see why people really like that. Um, that was a trippy experience. And then, so the other visual novel I played just finished it recently, like this week, was Slay the Princess. And I feel like people that talk about this game really hype this game up a lot. And I think for a good reason, because it's very weird. Basically, the premise of the game is you're going to this cabin that's in the woods and you're there to slay the princess. You don't know why. The narrator tells you that, if she leaves the cabin, the world ends. So you have to slay her. And basically, the game gets kind of meta in some ways. And it really goes in a lot of different paths in a lot of weird ways that actually really surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like a loop mechanic in a lot of ways. A lot of this is early, so there's no spoilers with this, but it's fascinating how everything comes together in such an interesting way. And with every kind of like loop or every kind of decision, you see a little bit behind the veil, right? A little bit behind the story, what's going on. And I was like, constantly like, I want to see more. I want to do this next dialogue choice. Why is it every time like something happens, there's a new voice in my character's head that's telling me something different? And it's done so damn well that I'm like, wow, this is really good. Like I really like these kind of weird and different experiences with such a dialogue heavy game. And everything's voice acted too, which is cool. Like every line in that has someone talking. So it's really nice. Kind of unexpected, honestly, because I feel like I don't know how many people worked on it, but it looks great. It's awesome. I think in a lot of ways it should be something like a lot of people that like those kind of games, like they should play that. Like it's
I like
up
that a
there.
lot of these smaller games or more of them are getting voice acted. Like it's nice to see that because it sometimes you just don't want to read, and it's
Oh
nice
yeah,
to get
especially
like
those.
yeah, it's nice to get like the real emotion behind it as well, and it just makes it a little bit more impactful overall. So yeah, it's great that I mean it's the fact that so many games are becoming voice acted and voice acted so well that the Video Game Awards has a Best Performance award now. Like that's pretty cool, and it speaks leaps and bounds for like how far we've gone with like voice acting and all that, and how many games are including it in their titles now. Like having Star
And
Ocean being voice acted, that was awesome, right? Like there's some really cool stuff.
it's crazy. I mean, there's a lot of big name actors doing voice acting too, and it's
Idris Elba,
kind of cool
yeah.
seeing that. Yeah, and it's like so many, or they become actors, after their voice
Mhm.
acting career. Like it's fascinating, and it's rare to find a game with bad voice acting nowadays. I feel like so many just sound so professional or fit roles so well. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, yeah. They're taking it
Um,
more seriously now, which is great.
yeah, it's a nice little touch.
Mhm.
But my last one I want to bring up, because as much as I would love to include this in my top, I don't. It's a great nod to something that I don't think is mind blowing, but I definitely think it's a title I haven't seen almost anybody talk about. This one's called 24 Killers, and
Oh, yeah.
it's a nod to Moon, which was a game that came out on the PlayStation in Japan only. And it was known as the anti RPG, which basically, instead of killing monsters, And, a typical hero's journey, you are helping people. Um, and you gain experience that way. And you do, it's basically like a let's be a good guy to the extreme kind of thing. And, it only recently got fully, released out here like a few years ago. Um, and I thought it was a really interesting experience. It's definitely not everyone's cup of tea because, I mean, the company that made it, Love the Sick, it was such an interesting and weird. Their games are just weird. Their second game was Tulip, which basically you do little tasks for people and you get a kiss. So basically, you're going around your whole village getting kisses from different villagers to achieve something at the end, right? And then their next game was Ruler Rose, which is a pretty messed up horror game in a lot of ways. So it took like a big weird turn, but we don't get games like this anymore, at all. And I mean, I look at a lot of them, but this one is very similar to Moon, basically, without getting too deep into it. You're in this world, right? And you are trying to save these, I guess you could say, souls that are underground, to bring to a different planet. And something I like about it is that there's like multiple save slot locations, and each save slot actually gives you a special boon when you complete the game that you would take into another save slot, and it changes the story a little bit with each save slot.
Oh,
But
that's weird. Yeah.
it's a very weird game. I'm a couple hours into it and it's enjoyable, right? Like you have your daily limit of stamina you can use, but there's no time limit. So you can spend as much time as you want trying to appease this one person. But when you appease them, you get an ability. And like the first guy you get, he's like, oh, you need to play this like like a carnival game where you have to punch something. And it's like you beat him and then now you can break like a certain boulder. And it's cool. Like it's a very kind of relaxing game. The music's great. Like, and it has the aesthetic of something from that era. And when I find something weird like this, I'm always down to give it a try. And I think for what they were going for, they did it like masterfully. Like it's so well done for what they're going for. And it's kind of a bummer that like no one has really talked about this, but I also understand why, because those older games have a cult following. And I mean, I feel like a lot of those people probably haven't discovered this, but this is definitely one it'd be cool to see more people give it a shot, because it is definitely weird, but it's I don't want to say it's cozy, but it's definitely a game I like to play like late at night and just kind of chill out to.
It's a very trippy looking game, very weird aesthetic. But I can see why people maybe aren't gravitating to it too much, because it is a very it's interesting looking, right? Like it's definitely not like your typical style game, or at least like when it comes to like more modern stuff right now. So yeah, no, it's a cool looking one though for sure. All right, so we have talked about a lot of games, and these are just our honorable mentions for the year. That's pretty crazy, right? Like, it's just wait. So next week we're going to be discussing the big games, the ones that we feel like should be the best games of the year. There's so many amazing titles out there. We're going to do some really deep dive talks into those, but maybe and hopefully you guys found some new games to try out in this episode as well, just to show you how stacked 2023 is, because these games range very, very far. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, we have mobile, we have console, we have PC games, we have the weird games, we got remakes, we got remasters. There's something for everybody here this year. there's definitely a game out there that was made this year that is for somebody, right? Like everyone, I feel like, can find something that really means a lot to them. And if you guys don't agree by some of the placements we have here, nothing was in a particular order, but yeah, we did put a Zelda game in an honorable mention. Oh well, deal with it, I guess. And yeah, there's no Nintendo games in the Game of the Year because of how amazing some of these other titles are. So we are very excited to bring that episode to you, and we'll be discussing that one next week. But so yeah, that's gonna do it for us. And I hope you guys have had fun, and we will talk to you all next week. So bye for now.